Good morning, everyone. This is John, and welcome to the channel, Horse Racing Enthusiasts. Uh, Today is Friday the 3rd. It's Oaks Day out at Churchill Downs, and what an exciting time. Everyone is going in today. I don't know if folks really understand how it's all laid out, but obviously tomorrow is the Kentucky Derby, and you'll have, the Kentucky Derby typically has, colts running in it, males. And then what they have done is not always, but typically, and then what they've done is they set Friday up sort of as the girl day, if you will, right? The girls run, and the Oaks is for girls, and it's quite nice actually. A lot of the women who come to the track today will be wearing pink. They have it in their headwear or in their dresses, and the guys will supplement with ties and that kind of thing. It's really kind of a nice thing. So anyhow, great day, great card of racing. I do understand that at least this morning the track was muddy. If they don't get any more rain during the day, it's potential that it dries out before the Oaks, but it looks pretty muddy, so I don't know if it's that great of a potential. But track handicapping in the mud is always a little, it's a little aggravating, because you go through all these difficult sort of and a lot of work it puts into handicapping, and then it's muddy, and you have scratches, and you'll have horses that run well in the mud, and you have those that don't. So it adds a little flair to your handicapping. Looked at the card completely today, and I have I looked with an eye to who runs well in the wet, and so I have a couple of thoughts as it relates to that. But today, primarily, what I do is I'll bet the Oaks, and also I will do an Oaks Derby daily double. That's primarily all that I'll do. Although when I'm looking through it, I have seen, I'll by the way, I've handicapped the entire card. I'll put my bets, or not my bets, but my picks today out there, and then I'll try to, give you a sense of some long shots that I think are important. I'll put that in the comment section, and you can, if there's questions about it, go ahead and ask questions about it. But, that's kind of where I'm headed. Generally speaking, my lawn shots when I come through are somewhere between 10 and 20%, depending on the day. So, if you bet my long shots all day, I can't guarantee anything. So, bet with discipline. Remember, tomorrow is the big day. Today, is a big day in racing, but it's you don't want to burn all your cash in the first day. So that's all I'm saying. All right. So, when I looked at the track today, and I looked at the mud, and then I went through, I found what I think is a plausible win bet, if you will, in the third race. Let's take a look at the third race. The third race it's a 1 mile on the dirt, so if it's still wet by the third race, and we suspect that it will be, it's gonna apply here. 80K non-winners of 2. Went through my original sort of run through with it. I kind of like the 8, 5, 10, and 11. 8, 5, 10, 11. So the 8 is Arthur's Ride, 3-1 morning line. 101 last buyer. Very impressive. Should do really well. 403 Thompson in the mud. No experience otherwise in the mud. And is the speed of the race. So the only thing I would say is that 101 just came out of nowhere. He went from February of 23. No, the horse did mature a year, so February 23 until March of 24, and it went from an 89 buyer to a 101. If that was all this year, you would say, what's going on? Maybe there's some there's performance enhancements going on there, but it's not unusual to go from that, particularly as a young 3-year-old to a 4-year-old, and see that jump in a buyer. So that horse is legitimate. So if you're going to do multi-wager races, or you're going to do an exacta, I would definitely consider the 8. I also like the 5 Injunction, Rosario, 360 on the Tomlinson. And again, Tomlinson, if you get a 50-point advantage over anyone else in the race, that's a bet. I would typically do anything in a 3 or higher. A 4 is great. This horse here has the gelding has 360 in the Tomlinson wet, and 1 for 1. That one looks like it's not on the track, so it's not in the listing of races, so I can't really describe it right now. Anyhow, I thought it was a pretty good horse. Again, liked it second best. Workouts of a B minus, so we take that in consideration. 10, Brigadier General, 400, 1 for 2 in the wet with a second place. Street Boss over Giant Causeway mare. That's a solid horse as well. I've seen Brigadier General win. Did he run it? Yeah, Keeneland, I guess, last win. Anyhow, Brigadier General's good, but the horse that I really thought was curious and doing all this sort of ramp up on is the 11, Empty Tomb. Now, it's an 8-year-old horse, Spicetown, and then Arch is the underlying, is the bottom sire, the grand sire in the bottom. The reason I like this horse, look at the Tomlinsons, 452, which is the highest in this race. And it doesn't have any wins, but out of 3 chances on the wet, it's got a second and a third. What I like is I look at Ortiz. The last race, it says Inside and Faded. That was in June of last year. So, I'm thinking there was probably some sort of issue. It went on the shelf for a little bit, and it's coming out. Has a good Tomlinson. Has run in the wet before. And they have Irad jump on. Oh, why is Irad jumping on a morning line 8-1? And now there's the other catcher. The thing I didn't like the most about it was the 8-year-old. So I look at it and I look at the training stats. 180 days, 21%. Dirt, 21%. Routes, 20%. And those are winning ratios on this. And then claimers, 23%, and allowance 17. Usually, if everything's above 15, it's a buy sign for me. And then the jockey training percentage is 18. Again, that's over 15. So I think Arthur's Ride, the 8 is a good horse and likely winner. I think this 11 is likely to be a long shot bet, and I think I think even with Irad on it, it's going to creep up a little bit, and you'll see. I think you'll be better than that 8-1 figure. So I'm going to do a bet on that today as well. All right, let's go right to, I don't want to make this too long. Anything else I can address in comments, but if we look at the actual Oaks today, what a race. I remember the Oaks, my best Oaks was, oh my gosh, I forgot it, so I'll move on. But, all right. So the Oaks, as we know, is a mile and an eighth. This is the girls running on dirt. It's grade 1. So you know the style of handicapping that I do is I hate taking long shots. Sometimes it's my Achilles heel. I mean, I hate taking favors, but sometimes it's my Achilles heel. I literally look for a long shot and try to drive that home, if you will. This race I feel is a little bit more difficult than the actual Kentucky Derby in my eyes. To handicap. You have a lot of horses, a lot of good horses in here, and so when I look at the PPs, particularly out of DRF, I look at the buyer speed figure is one of the the industry uses quite a bit. I look at that par value, that 97, and I try to compare the what the horse has run versus that par, and the par is on average this is the speed figure that wins this race on average. There's probably some nuance there that I'm not articulating, but that in essence is what it means. Okay, so the way I came down here was 13. I think just FYI, it looks really good. He's running B+ and A- in workouts. That's the highest highest I've seen. Now, Ways and Means, the 11 is also getting an A-, so we got to keep that in mind. Now, and then Leslie Rose, the 14, is running, has jumped up to a 95 buyer, beat just just FYI last race, but just FYI was coming back after the Breeders' Cup, so I hadn't run since then. So any rate, actually it wasn't the Breeders' Cup. It was November 3rd out in Santa Anita, but he had won that race. She had won that race, and so where do I think this is going to go? The 8 I liked a little bit. I liked second best the 8, which was Tarifa. That is a Brad Cox horse. Had been running at Fairgrounds. Bernardini over an Awesome Again mare. Jockey training percentage. Flavian Pratt running 33 and 29. So definitely a good horse. I sensed this. The 13, just FYI, that's a Justify over Arch. Star Act, which is Street Cry. I think the 13 has a good shot here. All intents and purposes, it looks like it's running really well. It's training well. Leslie's Rose is another good horse on the 14, just outside. I don't know if Candied is going to draw in the 16. Unlikely, but I heard there's rumors that there might be another drop, so maybe. So that's the biggest downfall on just FYI, in my opinion, is that it's coming from the outside. And you look at the structure, the way the track is laid out, you really don't have that far to go from the start to the clubhouse turn. So I suspect that I think it's going to be fine for him. I looked like her. I think on the inside, looks like it's going to be able to get up and get a good placement. It's tactically, typically closes, so gets within 2 to 3 lengths, and then stalks and then closes. So I think that horse stands a very good chance. And so I like that horse a lot. Now, the one horse I wanted to point out to you was the 5, Torpedo Anna. Only 4 races. Kenny McPeak is, I think I mentioned in an earlier video, Kenny McPeak is the trainer. That's a fast Anna over an Uncle Mo mare. And the percentages are, a little light, but, I think this horse at 5-1 looks like a good bet in my eyes. The reason why is you don't have the issues that just FYI has on the outside. It won't be closing. It won't be in traffic going to that first turn. Number 5 hole, it's going to be, can get out nice and comfortably. It has tactical speed and go. So B+ works recently, G2 winner. So I think the 5 is someone I'm going to work with. So what I'm going to do today is, from a win bet standpoint, I'm going to watch the odds on that Torpedo Anna, and if it stays at 5 or goes up a little bit, 5-1, I'm going to take that bet. And then I'm going to look at the Oaks Derby double. I've already mentioned I had kind of a hunch. I was kind of thinking of a hunch play with the Kenny McPeak horses. Torpedo Anna, the 5 in the Oaks, with the 3 Mystic Dan in the Kentucky Derby. So I might put $5-10 on that from a Oaks Derby double. Those are fun, and we'll see how that goes. And then I was kind of thinking, do you want to take a shot with, just FYI, if you think that is the horse that will most likely be the winner, and then apply that going forward to a couple of horses tomorrow. So I'm thinking I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do a just FYI. This is Oaks Derby double. Just FYI with, I don't think I'll do it with Fierceness, but I think I will do it with Catching Freedom, Anna Marie, and what is the other Justify horse? I believe it's Just Steel. I think Just Steel is someone. I'll get into that right now. So I think Just Steel is a colt that really looked. Just a Touch. Pardon me. So number 8, Just a Touch. So I'll add him to that Oaks Derby double with Just FYI. So we're going to all Justify on you, but so Just a Touch. Let's talk about Just a Touch in the Derby. So I just jumped over to the Derby for a second. Brad Cox trained. Justify Sire, tap it underneath so it's going to like the distance, has only run 3 times. 3 times. So you're saying, well, you're crazy taking them in the Derby, right? And a friend of mine talked about this on text yesterday. And but I'm getting the same vibe as he was, that we just saw Mage do this last year. Mage had 3 races, stepping up each time. And the thing I like about the 3 races is this horse is still improving. Last ran on April 6th in the Bluegrass, won that, or came in second, lost to Sierra Leone. But each race is improving, and it just looks like that's a chance. So I'm going to include that in that larger, if you will, Oaks Derby double. And I will also look to include it in my trifecta that I do. So let's get to that. The last thing I wanted to talk about just structurally was, so the horses that I like in the Kentucky Derby right now was Fierceness 17. 11 is the Japanese horse, Forever. Sorry, folks. Shuffling the papers gets to be a little monotonous. I get it. Forever Young. And then I like the 2, which is Sierra Leone. And then 4 and 7, Catching Freedom, and then Anna Marie. And I think those are the horses that I'm going to sort of work with. The only other horse that I might add to this, maybe underneath, in the try, or maybe if I decide to do as a super, would be Just Steel, which is the Wayne Lucas trained Justified Baby. Keith Asmussen going to be the jockey. I think that's a great story, and I'd love to see him do well with it. So those are the horses I'm going to use. So just to recap, 17, 11, 2, 4, 7, and possibly the 6. Okay, so how am I going to structure that? Well, I really want to look at the weather, but I think I might look at a ticket that looks like Box 'em All, right? And then, or do a 17 Fierceness on top with the 11, with the remainder. Maybe the 11 to, with the 11, 2, and one of the 4, 7, or 6, and I'm gonna, or 8, and then include them all in the 3rd spot, or if I'm doing a super, in the 4th spot. I think that's where I'm going. Anyhow, let's talk about what's coming up next. So we're gonna have a day of racing. In the comment section, I will put the picks that I have for today, Oaks Day, and I'll try to summarize any long shots that I have, so make it easy for y'all. And then I'll do a similar video tomorrow morning, and we'll cover finalize the Derby picks, give you a sense of, where we think we're headed. Look for any, while I'm handicapping, I'm looking for potential long shots that, would jump out at me, and I'm going to give those to y'all. So, exciting time. Enjoy the racing today. If you don't have access to, one of the channels that will be covering it, you can always go to like TVG or something like that and look at the race. Try scanning Churchill Downs. Maybe they're broadcasting on streaming as well. So anyhow, it's a great day of racing, and we're gearing up tomorrow. Tomorrow's the Super Bowl, and we'll go from there. So anyhow, thanks, horse racing enthusiasts. If you like this, oh, by the way, thanks everybody who looked at the video last time. I don't know what happened, but most of my videos go like 30, 50 people will look at. Sometimes they jump up to 100, but yeah, last video went to over 1,000. I don't know what happened. Hopefully it's working out for everybody. If you like this, go ahead and like, and then subscribe. Send it to someone else. Let them watch it. Tell people to subscribe. If you have a lot of people visiting here now, subscribe, and you won't regret it, because I give helpful hints, and then I cover Saratoga, soup to nuts. So there'll be a lot of fun, so come on along. Anyhow, good luck at the track today. I'll see you tomorrow, and thanks, race fans.